Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Master of Mayhem, Craig Charles.
Yes, folks, this is the big one. What it's all been leading up to. Robot Wars, the grand final. Since the Fifth Wars began, 96 robots have been smashed, bashed, dashed and trashed. And now, only the four most ferocious survive. Tonight, we will crown a British champion. Tonight, we will set the war zone on fire. So, are you ready for the ultimate fight? Are you ready to find a champion? Well, before we do, let's relive the road to Armageddon.
12 heats and 2 semi-finals ago, it all started with reigning champs Chaos 2 making light work of the Tartan Terror before flipping and tipping the Steel Avenger. The champs looked as awesome as ever, but during a titanic battle against Smithy, they both became immobilized.
Both robots obviously immobilized at the same time. The judges have instantly called for a rematch.
Back into the fray, it was Chaos's day. Bulldog Breed took a bite out of Juggernaut in our second heat. But the show belonged to Hypnodisc, who bombed Atomic, sending it to total meltdown. Against the Heavy Water Boys, this was Heavy Metal Thunder. And then they sent the Bulldog to the doghouse. Heat 3 and Shredder wanted a piece of the mousetrap. It looked good. Should have looked where it was going. Newcomer S3 was the most impressive of all, though, taking the venom out of Stinger's tail. In Show 4, while Reactor upended Bot out of hell, and Gemini proved double trouble for Dougal, the heat final saw Reactor up against number 7 seed Firestorm, and the fire put out the Reactor's core. The fifth heat, and Prize Fighter 2 broiled Thermidor. The Lobster couldn't claw its way out of that. Then the fighter went on to meet Wild Thing, and they looked king of the ring for a while. Jab and move, Wild Thing on the ropes, and then came the technical KO from the judges.
They've gone for Wild Thing. Bet you feel cheated.
Yeah. Halfway through the heat, Dominator 2 dominated. And Exterminator, exterminated, obliterated, Immortalis, no longer immortal. The newcomer Corkscrew, though, made it through to the heat final, losing out to the mighty Dominator. Dietor started a promising run in Heat 7, dispatching the Dome down the pit. Then they caused one of the biggest upsets in the history of Robot Wars by pitting 12-seed Tornado. But stalwart Spawn again ripped through their competition before poking one in the eye for Dietor in the heat final. Nothing dotty about Spawn again, through to the series semi-finals. Wheelie Big Cheese was back in Heat 8. Wolverine knew all about it. Granny's Revenge went up in smoke and chased by Axor. Gran then went down the pit and nearly took the ref bot with her. Behemoth turned the lights out on the Supernova, sending it into a black hole. And who has a wheelie big flipper?
Did you see how high that robot flew?
Wheelie Big Cheese has the flipper. Crustacean had the victory against Behemoth before the Cheese had his potted crab. Bigger Brother returned to the war zone with a much improved flipper based on Chaos 2, and Tip Top were first to form Bigger Brother. Out they went again. Little Joe and Ellie were enjoying this with Dad Ian, but they couldn't quite get a hat-trick with 3 stakes to heaven. So instead, failing to toss Stegs out, they took out their frustration on Shunt. Before finally sending 3 Stegs down the pit of oblivion instead, with Sir Killalot. In Heat 10, Cat 3 made light work of Welsh wonders Minnie Morgan. The kitty cats were dancing as Matilda and Sir Killalot taught Cliptonite a lesson. But it was the awesome driving skills of Kim Davis impressing us all. First knocking out Barbarous, and then instigating the fall of Tiberius the Emperor, before making sure Cat 3 had used up all its 9 lives. Next up, reigning world champions Razor met their partners on a feisty ultimatum.
If they beat us, no more washing up, no more hot dinners on the table, and I'm putting his bed in the shed.
Well, we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't, aren't we?
So they threw caution to the wind and wreaked their revenge on the Widows. Heat 12, Ming 3 falling foul of Terahertz, and they in turn met the mighty Fluffy. But the biggest surprise came when number 2 seeds Pussycat lost their blade. We thought it was all over for them, but sensationally Fluffy lost power, and the Cat returned to fight in the semis. In the first of those, S3 were bumped, bruised, beaten up, and buried Big Brother style. Chaos 2, the champs had to hold on against the Wild Thing twice, nearly toppled. But they fought back strongly, and they won it on a judge's decision. In the losers' melee, Wild Thing was sliced by S3 as Sport again went down. Chaos 2 surely to go through against Bigger Brother. No, they ran out of gas, couldn't self-sliced by S3 as Sport again went down. Chaos 2 surely to go through against Bigger Brother. No, they ran out of gas, couldn't self-right. Brother through to the grand final. The George Francis reign over. Then S3 cut apart by the Razor, and it was the world champions also through. In the second semi, Dominator 2 dug deep to find a way to beat Wheelie Big Cheese. The Flipper found it out, but the Cheese then conked out, and Dominator 2 survived even that. A shame to see such power wasted. Then, a shock. Second seeds Pussycat beaten by Firestorm. Even though Firestorm had previously lost to Hypnodisc and had to fight its way through a loser's melee all the way to the grand final. For Hypnodisc, a lot easier. Dominator by name, not by nature. The spin to win boys through to our 5th Wars grand final lineup. The 4 finalists then, Hypnodisc and Bigger Brother. Firestorm, of course, and Razor. And here's how they line up for round 1. Hypnodisc against Bigger Brother, and Razor, the world champions, take on patched up Firestorm 3.
So,